Hello, everyone, and welcome to lesson number 2 of the master group. Today, we are going to learn how to conjugate verbs in Spanish in past, present, and future. Let's start with present, which is the simple one. Then, past form, there is four important past forms, and then future that has two different forms. So in present, I want you to learn the patterns instead of trying to memorize each verb. This is what you use for regular verbs. Tomorrow we're going to see irregular verbs. But for regular verbs in present, to the pronoun yo, which is I, tú, which is you, informal, él, he, ella, she, usted, you, formal. Then nosotros o nosotras, we, masculine or feminine. Then ellos, ellas, they, masculine or feminine. Ustedes, you all, you use what is in front. So yo, for verbs that end in AR, you put O, same for ER, O, same for EIR, sorry. For you, informal, you put in AR, as, to the end of a verb. You have to take away the AR, ER, or IR of the verb and then add these letters. To, as, and for ERIR, to es, right? For él, ella, usted, remember take away the AR, ER, and IR, and then you add a, e for ER and IR. Nosotros, nosotras, you add amos for AR, and hemos for ER, and hemos for IR. And then ellos, ellas, ustedes, you add an at the end of the verb for AR, then n for ER, and IR. That's the pattern for present. Okay, then we start with past. Imperfect past o pasado imperfecto. You use it to express actions in the past where the beginning and ending are not clear or stated. So for yo, which is I, you add at the end of a verb, again, taking away the AR, and you add ava. For ER, ia, and same for IR. Tú, which is you, avas, ias, ias for ER, IR. Él, ella, usted, you add ava. And for ER or IR, ia. Then for nosotros or nosotras, which is we, masculine and feminine, habamos for AR and íamos for ER and IR. Then ellos, ellas o ustedes for AR, havan, you add havan at the end of the verb. And for ER or IR, ian. That's imperfect past. Then pasado indefinido. We use it to express completed actions in the past with a clear beginning and ending. remember what it is used for, and then what's the pattern that you add at the end of a verb. For yo is e, e for er and ir. For tú is aste, and for er and ir is te. For él, ella, usted, o, and then yo for er and ir. Nosotros, nosotras, amos, and then imos for er and ir. And for ellos, ellas, ustedes is Aaron and Anne. That's the pattern. And what is used for? To express completed actions in the past with a clear beginning and ending. Perfect past or pasado perfecto, to express actions in the past that are done but continue to occur in the present or are likely to occur again. For example, I've been in that restaurant. It's likely that I go again, or it's a restaurant that I visit often, just to have an example. So, yo, the thing you have to remember here is that you use as, a, hemos, and. Remember, H in Spanish is silent, doesn't sound. You just put it in the written form, but when you pronounce it, never sound, is silent. Is from the verb like I've been. That I have been, I have is like that. As, a, hemos, an is that have conjugated in Spanish. In Spanish, it comes from the verb haber, haber. And then all you have to do is to the verb add at the end hado for ar and ido for er or ir. That's pasado perfecto. Y pasado pluscuamperfecto is like a sister of pasado perfecto. You just do the same, hado for ar and ido for er or ir, but it's instead of putting as, a, amo, hemos, y an, which was the last one, you put había, habías, había, habíamos, habían before the verb, and then at the to the verb you add hado if it's an ar, or ido if it's a er or ir. And in future we just have two forms. In future you don't take away the ar, er, or ir of the verb. You leave it as it is, and at the end of the verb you add yo, with the accent to as, él, ella, usted, a, nosotros, nosotras, hemos, ellos, ellas, ustedes, han. That's the only thing you have to do for future for regular verbs. And the other form is the going to, ir a. Ir, which is to go, it's a irregular verb, but to use this future form you have to know how to conjugate it. Yo voy, tú vas, él, ella, usted va, nosotros, nosotras vamos, ellos, ellas, ustedes van. But as it is going to, ir a, entonces yo voy a, and the verb in present, any verb. Tú vas a, él, ella, usted va a, nosotros, nosotras hemos vamos a, ellos, ellas, ustedes van a. So if you haven't registered to the master group, which is free, register in the link below to receive all the workbooks for these lessons. If you have already registered, you are going to receive the workbook of this lesson where you can apply all these patterns and practice with the verbs the conjugations. You're going to have some examples and then you follow those examples to work with the different tense that we have just studied, from the present and the different forms in past and the two forms in future. Download the workbook to practice this lesson, and see you guys tomorrow with another lesson. Tomorrow we're going to see the irregular verbs, how to recognize them, and see all the patterns that you can try to apply or figure out when you encounter an irregular verb. Thank you guys for being here, and see you tomorrow. Ciao.